Welcome, everyone, to the next edition of Huge Sports Talk Show, the first bonus stream of the new season of Season 8. As today we're going to be going over several sports into 6 categories, each 10-minute periods, which we are using one of them right now, but it's not much to cover because there's barely any leagues for it. There is football. Well, actually, I'll just say American football, baseball, basketball, hockey, soccer, and access football. We're going to start with the football unit, as there are only a couple of leagues. So, we're going to go over the NFL first. Now, first things on the topic. Coming up in literally 4 days, the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers will be playing the Hall of Fame game this year. So those two lucky teams get to have sports early this year. And I think Blinks is a Steelers fan, so therefore it's going to be entertaining for Blinks. And let's check the news line. Right, the top 25 prospects of young players has been leaked. There's, of course, players resisting vaccines, and all that. So yeah, again, the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers will be playing in 4 days as the NFL is finally coming back. As I believe this is the month the preseason starts. I just don't remember and realize it because here we are. My first game is against the Saints. Literally next week. Standings, obviously there's nothing yet. Because, well, the season hasn't kicked off. And statistics. So far, the offensive leader is Deshaun Watson from the Houston Texans. Number 2 is Patrick Mahomes from the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 3 is Tom Brady from Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 4 is Matt Ryan from the Atlanta Falcons. And number 5 is Josh Allen from the Bills. What's up, Blinks? Welcome to the stream. Now, for the best rushers, Derrick Henry is from Tennessee, is number 1 from the Tennessee Titans, and so on. Best receiver, Stephon Diggs from the Buffalo Bills. Now for our defensive leaders, defensive tackle. The tackles go to Zach Cunningham from the Houston Texans. For sacks, it's T.J. Watt from the Pittsburgh Steelers. And interceptions, it goes to Xavier Howard from the Miami Dolphins. Alright, let's switch to NCAA as that's, I believe, is going to start very soon as well. As you can see, there's a bunch of games coming up. At least these are all of them are the top 5. But if we look at all of them, it is the world's longest list. As so many colleges, all from Division I, will be taking place their games this week. News. How quarterbacks are bringing their own spice with off-platform passes. And then standings. Obviously, there's nothing yet. There is a lot of conferences. There's about 11. This was last season, I believe. I think that Cincinnati is the leader of the American Athletic Conference. Atlantic Coast Conference goes to Notre Dame University, which is actually in Maryland. It's in the state of Maryland, at least. The Big 12. Who is in the Big 12? Who's the lead? Iowa State is the leader in the Big 12. Big 10, it goes to Ohio State, which is the same division I'm in. Well, at least for the East, and for the West, it's Northwestern. Conference USA East, Marshall. Conference USA West, UAB. FBS Independence, Liberty is the leading in that. These are guys who are not in a division yet. They need to be put into one, I guess. Mid-American Conference. Yes, blinks. You have Buffalo. West, you have Ball State. Mount West Conference. San Jose State. Pac-12. Washington leading there. In the north and in the south, it is the USC. Southeastern Conference, the Florida Gators are leading in there, and Alabama, of course, the champions, obviously led there 10-0. Sun Belt Conference, East, Carolina. If I selected the right one, yeah. And the West is Louisiana. So, those are all the teams to watch for this season so far. As that's when it comes to standings. When it comes to the top 25, however, Alabama is ranked number 1 overall. And the statistics, offensive leader is Mac Jones, who just got drafted. As I believe Mac Jones has been drafted on the Patriots. Yeah, there he is. Rushing, Breece Hall. He is still not drafted. He is... What are my thoughts on the MLS? Well, I don't know yet. We haven't gotten to there yet. Receiving, Devontae Smith. He's on the Eagles now. Defensive tackle leader, Carlton Marshall, who is not drafted. Sacks, Patrick Johnson, who is drafted by the Eagles. Interceptions, Brandon Joseph. He has not been drafted as of yet. As the NFL season's about to kick off. So always be ready for game day. As barely any of the number 1s have been drafted, unfortunately. Teams, there's the leaderboards for that. And now it's time to move on to the next sport, baseball. Now here is the games for this week, not including today. For Monday, here are a bunch of the games. You got Monday's games, Tuesday's games, Wednesday's games, Thursday's games, Friday's games, Saturday's games, which is also the same day we do our own YouTuber League, and then next Sunday's games. So... And for the news, how the American League East race stacks up coming out of the trade deadline. That's popular. Here's some more popular headlines right here. And then you got some of the standings. Now for the East, Tampa Bay Rays are leading in that. And, of course, my team is always last in their division because they never improve for some reason. In the Central Division, the Chicago White Sox are in the lead. In the West, the Houston Astros are in the lead in there. And then the National League, you got the New York Mets leading in the East, the Milwaukee Brewers of the Central, and the San Francisco Giants in the West. Now, Pittsburgh does have a team as well, but they're also dead last in their division. As they're just, I don't know. Why is the entire AFC East bad this year in baseball? Well, that's everyone except the Cleveland Indians, as they are second in the Central. And same with Cincinnati, so it's just Pittsburgh and Baltimore that's not really doing his job today. Now, out of the league, Houston is number 1 in the American League, and San Francisco is number 1 in the National League. And number 1 overall is the San Francisco Giants. And in last right now is still the Arizona Diamondbacks. But what I noticed is the Baltimore Orioles finally went up a ranking. They're no longer 29th. They're finally 28th again. Which means the next team they have to take down to improve is the Pittsburgh Pirates. And they are they're only 2.5 wins apart. But if Baltimore wants to survive, they have a long way to go. And if they do survive. YouTube Pittsburgh Steelers. I have no idea who that is. Again, I'm an Orioles fan here. I'm just announcing that there's Pittsburgh teams because I know there's Pittsburgh fans watching this stream too. So, same with Baltimore fans as myself, but. So yeah. We're going to switch to NCAA. Where is NAC? Come on. Do I have to search for it? NCAA. NCAA men's baseball. Obviously, this happened a couple months ago, as NCAA's baseball is considered a spring sport, so they play it during the spring. It's done for the year. As Mississippi State are still reigning as champions, obviously. But what's the latest on the news? The Olympics, obviously. As they literally have almost every sport except American football in the Olympics. Now, some of them don't play right now, as they would be part of this year's Winter Olympics, but right now it's only the Summer Olympics. As I believe hockey's part of the Winter Olympics. I don't know if American football would be as well, because majority of their season ranks in the months of the winter, like December and January, when it's cold. As it's also cold in November, at least around here it is. But yeah, then there's Cahill Watson's draft profile and all of that. So we've ran out of things to talk about in there, so we're going to go back to the story of Major League Baseball and look at the scores. Right now, the Chicago Cubs are beating the Nationals right now. So those of you from one part of Chicago, you guys are winning. And for those who are part from Washington, D.C., you guys are not winning right now. Now, the next one is the Phillies versus the Pirates. Currently, the Philadelphia Phillies, a.k.a. Eastern Pennsylvania, is beating Pittsburgh, a.k.a. Western Pennsylvania. So the Pennsylvania rivalship continues, and Pennsylvania is currently winning it right now. Then there's Kansas City and the Blue Jays. They're currently tied as the game just started. And for today, for me, we are beating the Tigers again for the third consecutive time, which is going to help a lot. As we've already won 2 games out of, I think it's probably going to be a 4-game series. Is it a 4-game series? Is it a 4? It is a... Yeah, it's a 4-game series, and the Orioles have already won 2, so therefore, the worst it can be is a tie for it now. But if Orioles win this game, they win the series. But this series don't really matter because it's not a playoff series, like the ones where we lost in other sports, which we'll get to later. Then you got the Mets and the Reds tied. Yankees and Marlins are also tied. And then the rest of the games for today haven't started yet, so who knows what can possibly happen. We still got 3 minutes left in this unit, so let's scroll the news. As U.S., of course, is aiming for gold. Apparently, Dodgers are now the baseball evil empire. Even though they're not in first right now, that title goes to the Giants. Astros keep adding to bullpen with Indians Mason. Oh, that's right. I have another topic I like to talk about. The Cleveland Indians have decided to change their name to the Cleveland Guardians. Starting next season, their logo's going to be different. I want to see if I can pull up that page. Let me pull up that page. News. I want to find that story. I don't know where that story was, but I know they changed their name. There it is. Cleveland's MLB team officially announces change of nickname to the Guardians. As I believe they changed it because of the racial things that's been going on. That's their logo. I don't know why it looks like the Detroit Red Wings logo except with a baseball rather than a wheel. But moving on. It's the end of the 10-minute period, so we're moving on to basketball. Now, here's the most upsetting thing for me. Why the frick did we trade Russell Westbrook for 3 other players? That's my concern. But as you can tell, the Bucks are the champs this year, so congrats to all the people of Milwaukee and all the people of Wisconsin State. News, biggest 2021 free agency decisions for all teams is listed now. As here are some of the top headlines. Another one is, of course, the Lakers-Wizards trade. That is stupid, and I don't know why the coach decided to do that. Because he had the leading triple-doubles in history ever. So now with that, him and LeBron James are probably going to destroy all the other basketball teams next season. So it's good news for Blinks, bad news for me. And of course, you got the standings from last season. You had the 76ers, the Nets, the Bucks, the Knicks, the Hawks, the Heat, all clinching a playoff berth. The Celtics and Wizards all taking a playoff berth through the play-in tournament. And you have the Pacers and the Hornets eliminated out of the play-in tournament. And then you have the Bulls, Raptors, Cavaliers, Magic, and Pistons not make the playoffs at all. Now for the Western Conference, the Jazz, Suns, Nuggets, Clippers, Mavericks, and Trailblazers all made the playoffs easily. Now, it was a rougher road to get to the playoffs for the Lakers and the Grizzlies, but they managed to make it in. And as a result of this tournament, the Golden State Warriors and the Spurs have been eliminated through that play-in tournament. Then you have the Pelicans, Kings, Timberwolves, Thunder, and Rockets not making it at all. 17 wins, I'm guaranteed, is not going to make you get in the playoffs. That is about the worst I've ever seen in this league. And sadly, the Rockets hasn't gotten their first round pick, which means they're going to struggle even more. At least they still get to draft higher. Stats. Offensive leader, Duka Doncic. From the Dallas, Russell Westbrook, originally from Washington, is now on the Lakers. He had the leading assists, and Washington gave them away. 3-pointers made, Damian Lillard from the Portland Trailblazers. Defensive leaders, most rebounds, Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Milwaukee Bucks. Blocks, Rudy Gobert from the Utah Jazz. Steals, Kyle Anderson from the Memphis Grizzlies. And that's all that. Teams. Most offensive team, and when it comes to points, goes to the Portland Trailblazers. So watch out for them, as they've won that keystone. Next keystone, field goal percentage. With 49.6%, the Philadelphia 76ers leading that. So you also watch out for them as well, as they have the number one at that spot. Points differential. That goes to the 76ers as well, so that's a double trouble for them. Defensive leaders. The Lakers have the best when it comes to that. Well, them and the Knicks. So it's going to be hard to score a goal against the Lakers and the Knicks. Rebounds. The Bucks are good at rebounding the ball, so they're number one in that spot. Blocks. Ever tried to take a shot and it's blocked? Expect nothing more from the Celtics, as they have number one at the blocks list this season. So who knows who could win this season. And of course, and then you got the 2020 Olympic men's basketball tournament. USA beat the Czech Republic. I think that's what that is, right? Yeah, Czech Republic. And also the draft is going on, I think. I don't know if all the rounds are done. I believe the last drafting event of the year. as I think all five major league top division sports that are highly recognized, that are at least got a bunch of teams and are decently advertised, have done their draft already. But there is another league coming out, but it's not. That is starting to get a little popularity, but it's not popular enough. That is the National Lacrosse League, as I've never knew there was a professional league that was for it, but they only have like a short handful of teams right now, and neither DC or Baltimore has any of the teams, so who knows what's going to happen there. Oh, also, NCAA, we also have women's basketball. Where is that? No, not Discord. I'm going to show all the leagues. That's how you do it. The Women's National Basketball Association's standings right now are the Seattle Storm is in the lead right now out of the entire conference. Second, the Las Vegas Aces, then the Connecticut Sun, Minnesota Lynx, Chicago Sky, New York Liberty, Phoenix Mercury, and the Washington Mystics all in playoff spots. For the other four teams, including the Dallas Wings, Los Angeles Sparks, Atlanta Dream, and the Indianapolis Fever, all not in there yet, as they still need to find a way to get in there. Number one in each conference is Seattle and Connecticut. And for the news, of course, they say that their team is headed in the right direction as well. NCAA men's basketball, congratulations to Baylor University as they are champions this year. And for NCAA women's basketball, congratulations to Stafford University for being number one. As all these teams have worked hard to get there. And in about a minute, we're going to switch to the next sport. All right, it's now 1:30, which means we are switching to the next sport, and the next sport is hockey, starting with the NHL. Now, the schedule has been announced for the next season, as the Pittsburgh Penguins will be the first team to ever play the Seattle. No, never mind, wrong game. The Las Vegas Golden Knights will be the first ever team to play the Seattle Kraken in history, as the Seattle Kraken is a new expansion team. Now, there are some concerns, though. They could be strong, because the first season the Golden Knights played in, they literally made it to the Stanley Cup final, but they lost to the Capitals, as the Capitals took their first win ever. Now, the first game that's going to be happening ever in this season is going to be the Pittsburgh Penguins at the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, this is a big game because they're actually playing the Stanley Cup champions of this year. So anyone playing the Tampa Bay Lightning, watch out, as they're going to be destructive, as they always are. Now, this is in October, though, so this isn't going to come until another 2 months from now, 2 seasons from now. News. NHL free agency live updates is live as usual. Fantasy draft. As As if you haven't known what the Seattle Kraken expansion draft, if you haven't known already, is basically they took one player from each of every team in the league except for the Las Vegas Golden Knights, as I think they chose them because they're the second newest team. As for the Capitals, they took Vanecek, which is one of our goalkeepers. As each team, but it wouldn't be fair if the team took all the players that are really good. So what the other teams could do is they can lock in players to keep them safe. There are some extra alternatives too that also result in safe, like certain conditions like signing, injuries, and all that. Yeah. The standings. The Atlantic Conference, as you got the new version as it's updated to 0 stats. As the divisions have changed again, they're going back to what they used to be. As the COVID year is done, well, at least the COVID season's done. That's what I call it. As there's no more intra-divisional play. So now you're going to be playing almost every single team in the league. You got the Panthers, Bruins, Maple Leafs, Lightning, Senators, Canadiens, Red Wings, and Sabres in the Atlantic Division. Metropolitan Division, you got Blue Jackets, Hurricanes, my Washington Capitals, the Penguins, which is probably going to be Blinks' favorite team because he likes Pittsburgh, the Flyers, the Rangers, the New York Islanders. Oh, the Pittsburgh Penguins is probably also going to be Dev's favorite team as well because he also is a Pittsburgh fan. Yeah, newsflash. Dev and Blinks like the same team, like the same NFL team, so that they're going to have a fun talking in their server. And then also, finally, you got the New Jersey Devils. In the Western Conference, in Central, you got the Wild, Blackhawks, Jets, Predators. I always forget the name of that team for some reason. Coyotes, Blues, Avalanche, and the Stars. And for the Pacific Division, the new Seattle Kraken. Oh, and also, the divisions have changed. The Arizona Coyotes used to play in the Pacific Division until the Seattle Kraken took its spot, as now they're in the Central Division. So as the Pacific, they have the Kraken, Flames, Golden Knights, Ducks, Canucks, Sharks, Los Angeles Kings that I believe Kendra Shorts might like, as Kendra Shorts is a Los Angeles fan, and the Oilers. Now, I'm not sure if Golden's a New Jersey Devils fan or not, because he's from New Jersey, which is basically where his team is at, if he likes the team. I doubt he does, but because he's not huge into sports like we are. But it's still going to be fun referring people as teams, as it just builds up current rivalries. Now, for men's hockey, this page hasn't been updated in so long. I have no idea when this game took place. As here are the rankings. UMass is number 1. Women's hockey, Wisconsin is number 1. As for Wednesday, you got more games for the first couple of teams. The New York Rangers will be playing my Washington Capitals in our first game of the season. So last season we started away, so now we're starting home this season. As you can see, as I believe we're going to go check out the Capitals schedule Wrong thing. In October, we are playing the Rangers, the Lightning, which is going to be a tough game. Avalanche, the Devils, which is basically me versus Golden Thunder, if Golden Thunder likes the Devils. The Flames, Senators, I don't know any fans from Canada because there are 8 Canadian teams. We also play the Red Wings and the Coyotes. Now, I don't know how hard some of these teams are to beat. So we will see. At all times will tell. We'll also go over Pittsburgh's schedule because there's also, again, Pittsburgh fans watching the stream. For example, Blinks and Dev, if they're both here. For October, the Penguins play the Lightning, Panthers. Good luck against the Lightning. Blackhawks, Stars, Maple Leafs. They play Lightning twice. I didn't realize that. Good luck this season. Holy crap. They're going to have a tough time this month. The Flames and the Devils. Now, most of the other teams they're able to beat. Well, I'm not entirely sure because the first season I watched them play. Well, I didn't really watch the Penguins play. I watched the Capitals play. But they were number 1 in their division, which, again, there's only intra-divisional play last year. So, therefore, there's not much to see. Now, Los Angeles for Kendra Shorts, it would be the Los Angeles Kings for this moment, is they play the Golden Knights, the Minnesota Wild, Tennessee Predators, Dallas Stars. They play the St. Louis Blues twice. And they play the Winnipeg Jets, the Montreal Canadiens, and the Buffalo Sabres. Now, the Buffalo Sabres was dead last season. So it's going to be an easy win for maybe some teams. If you lose, then you're unlucky. As it's going to be a pretty crazy season. And in case Golden Thunder is a New Jersey fan, we got the New Jersey Devils. They only have 7 games this month rather than 8. I guess some of their games are scheduled in other months. As they play the Blackhawks, the Kraken, which I'm excited to play the Kraken. I'm not going to lie. Well, no one's ever played them before. And if I want to see how strong we could beat them, if we can. I want to know how strong they are. That's the question. As, of course, they play us as well. They play the Buffalo Sabres, the Calgary Flames, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, the thing is, last season, the New Jersey Devils finished 7th place last season in the East Division, which meant that they got eliminated from the playoff contention, as you have to be in the top 4 to make it in. So they got second to last, but because of the draft picks, who knows what can happen. Alright, it is 1:40, which means it is time to switch to soccer. Now, I know some people don't like the MLS, but who cares? I don't care. As I live in America, so I'm going to say we're going to do MLS anyways. Now, for Major League Soccer, for today we have the Philadelphia and Chicago, and Toronto and Nashville. Wednesday, Columbus. Here are some other games. I'm not going to announce them all. And then Saturday, you have these games. And then Sunday, you have these games. Now, I have been researching more about their other cups. But the winner of the MLS season and the Mexican Soccer League season actually play a game against each other. So I'm going to consider that the new Super Bowl. As the Columbus Crew will be playing, I'm going to look at their schedule. Who was their team name? It's in September, I believe. There it is. The Columbus Crew will be playing the Cruz Azul, which is the champions of the Mexican League last year. As this is basically the Super Bowl, except for soccer. And it would be crazy to see if Columbus would win or not. Then you got the table. The New England United is in the lead. No, New England Revolution. That's their team name. Of course, we are in 8th right now for the DC United. We need to we need to go up one more spot, and then we are in playoff contention. As this league is different from other leagues, there is such thing as a playoffs, but there's also such thing as the best of the league. If you have the best record of the entire league, you win an award and you qualify for certain tournaments. Same with some other conditions like Canadian representative, best in conference, I guess. I'm not sure. I don't remember all of them. But I know another one is the winner of the MLS Cup, which is basically the playoffs in this league, as sadly most of the other leagues don't have a playoffs. They just go by whoever has the best record. And again, unlike other leagues, this league does not have relegation and promotion yet. As some people say, it could be possible for it to happen. That is if they keep adding more and more teams in the league. As there are a lot of Division 4 teams. A lot. There's more Division 3 and there's more Division 3 teams than Division 1 teams, which is the MLS, and more Division 2 teams than the Division 1. And also, unlike the other leagues, in MLS, there are, in Divisions 2 through 4, there are multiple leagues representing them, rather than just one, like the Premier League. So there are a lot of teams that are just sitting around waiting to join in the league, but again, they go by popular city because of stadium income. That's what I think. Some of their leagues do allow people to create their own teams or venues and stuff like that. So that only can mean one thing. This league could just get only bigger. And for the news, of course, you got a bunch of things. I didn't mean to open that app. Scores. And we are now going to switch to women's soccer. Actually, wait, before we do that, we're going to do the Champions League of CONCACAFs. You got Monterrey, Cruz Azul, America, and Philadelphia, as most of these teams are from Mexico. 3 of these teams are from the Mexican Soccer League, and only one of them is from America. Then you got the Gold Cup. The United States and Mexico will be playing the final game within there. And the winner is the champions of North America and Central America, and also the Latin islands, I believe, like El Salvador. No, that's not an island. That's a country in Central America. As this game is probably going to build some highlights. I want USA to win. Blinks wants Mexico to win because he doesn't like the USA for some soccer team for some reason, but it is what it is. He said, I still remember when he said that Qatar was going to beat us because they score 3 goals in their previous game. Little did he know that our defense was better than those other teams that they played. And we scored 1 point against Qatar and won. So therefore, his prediction was completely false. Although there was a couple of errors, but we managed to win anyway. And the National Women's Soccer League is also kicked off. For us, the Washington Spirit is in number 3, which is good news for me. As not only are the men, that actually means the men are almost in the playoffs. They're just 1 spot behind. So the women are in the playoff range, I believe. I don't know what the playoff range is. As of right now, there are only 10 teams. Maybe 100 years from now, every league will have at least 64 teams. And yeah, that's basically the soccer unit. Now, in a second, we're going to switch to our last unit, which is the Extreme Access Football League, which is an online hosted league that I broadcast some of the games. I'm going to broadcast more starting tomorrow. As I believe I have to do 2 games this week. And it's going to be an exciting season. As there are some teams that are supposed to relate to the NFL, some of them are not. Some cities don't even have a team. Now, they try not to do 2 teams in the same location, so Los Angeles doesn't have 2 like the NFL does. And New York doesn't have 2, just like the NFL does. Instead, Lincoln, Nebraska would have a team along with the St. Louis having a team as well. But what's also different about the XAFL is New England doesn't have a team. Instead, that city venue is in Boston, and Tampa Bay also doesn't have a team as well, and instead they're in Orlando. So it's not too much of a difference. Oh yeah, and Jacksonville's team is also not in Jacksonville. Instead, they're all the way in Oklahoma City. So some unpopular cities do have teams. Alright, it is now time to review the Access Football League. No, Extreme Access Football League, not Access League. All right, let's look at the schedule for week 4 of the the regular season. I'm going to scroll down. I know he used a document to do this. Week 4, you got the Baltimore Braves at the Pittsburgh Ironhawks. My team ended up losing to Pittsburgh, so congratulations, Blinks, again. And you got some other teams. And now let's go look up the standings. The standings as of the end of week 3, they only updated once every team's played. Right now, the Cincinnati Royals are number 1. Surprisingly, they were eliminated last season in the week 16 against the Baltimore Braves. Also, division swamps. The St. Louis Racers have moved to the numerical conference. I'm just going to call them by divisions. Numerical Football Conference Division Group A. That's what I'm just going to call them. I'm not going to call them RB, DC, DRC, or SL because I don't even know what all of them stand for.
Literally, when you told me, I was going to call them like...
And for the Seattle Bruins, they moved to the Alphabetical Football Conference Group D. Now for the standings in the AFC Division 1, the Cincinnati Royals are number 1. AFC Division 2, the Buffalo football team is in number 1. Surprisingly, they're above the Nebraska Thunder, which normally the Nebraska Thunder win every season. Except for the semifinals game in the playoffs. As last season it was against Baltimore, and I think in the season before that it was against Pittsburgh. Now for the Alphabetical Football Conference Group C, Houston Bombers are in the lead against the Las Vegas Outlaws, who previously made the playoffs. And in Group 4, in Group D, Denver Mountaineers are in playoff position again. The Kansas City Wranglers are in second. The Seattle Bruins are struggling in this new division, as they are in third right now with a record of 2-2. And for the NFC, the Green Bay Axemen are number 1 because they no longer have Seattle as a threat anymore. So now they can easily take the division and tear up the rest of the teams. For the next division, NFC DC, the New York Barons are also surprisingly leading in this division, as normally the Dallas Lawmen are always the ones that take the spot. For the NFC DRC, the Carolina Rebels are once again starting a revolution to take down all the teams. Now they are already they're already defeated, as normally they I believe last season they've won 11 straight. And for the NFC SL, the Arizona Heat are surprisingly taking the lead in this division.
I don't know what picture that is.
Well, that division, in my opinion, is what I like to call the NFC East of the NFL, but in the XAFL. That division is just so dead, as all 4 of these teams normally have losing records. As I believe last season they did.
Well, they broke up, remember?
So,
I exactly told her he's going to be...
Again, let's look at the scores for this current week.
And, he'd go, he wouldn't talk to her for,
Oh, wait, week 5 is done. Week 4 is done, so never mind. That was the standings of week 4. As Chicago beat Green Bay, Pittsburgh beat Baltimore, Carolina beat Orlando, Nebraska beat Boston, Buffalo beat Miami, Seattle beat Oklahoma City, Cincinnati beating Cleveland, Houston beating Las Vegas, Tennessee beating Indianapolis, as they were one of the worst teams last season, Denver beating Kansas City, Dallas beating Philadelphia, Louisiana beating Atlanta, Washington beating New York, San Francisco beating Arizona, Los Angeles beating St. Louis, and Detroit beating Minnesota. As, again, here are the franchises. Did they update this? They did. They did update it. He needs to change that. It's not season 2. It's season 4. It's 2 seasons ago that he made that. Come on, just click stats. As the stats are here. Playoff pictures, not really in the books yet, but... Player of the week of week 4 goes to Ken Shavs for the Chicago Lakehawks. As again, this is a long page as well. And for some announcements, as the Los Angeles becomes the first ever team to win with a quarterback with passer 0 rating, which I don't know what that means, because is it his? I doubt it's his overall, because all of them are above at least 70. So recent polls, we voted St. Louis to move divisions because we all wanted that division to stay competitive. So we left Oklahoma City in that division to keep it as powerful as possible. Now, I also voted to not move the divisions because that would mess everything up. But they did it anyway, so now it's already done. Our division that we're in is the most competitive I've ever had all time. Wrong channel. As I need to post the link for this episode in that chat. As there are a total of, I believe, 6 different shows that you could watch if you join this server. Or at least get to know, as there's devs, deluxes, randoms, real deal, me, and Michael. As all the players, as we're all basically hosts. They made my logo a whale for some reason, but I don't care. It's fine with me. Anything water related is allowed to stay.
Talking about which type of Harley Quinn was the hottest, and then Bridge, all I could hear from Bridget goes, "Oh no."
And who is this? Mr. C Jr. Why can I not see his name? I guess it's because he chose the color white as his name color. Well, probably because most people do dark mode. But I do light mode during the day and dark mode during night times. It didn't automatically turn on yesterday, which is surprising because it's supposed to do that.
Well, yeah, her face is hot, and I was like...
Yeah, light mode helps me stay awake, so that's why I do that.
He said that he would turn gay for Ryan Reynolds.
Now, they also have television channels, which gives me a sign that some people know how to broadcast NFL games in there, which I probably will do. I probably will take some of the channels, but hopefully the channel of the broadcast I'm supposed to take isn't taken because there are such things as blackouts and stuff like that. But I can stream any game I want because I use a website that allows me to do so. Which the website basically takes games from multiple streamers and uses it on their own site. If the stream goes out, they have other links that you can switch to because they do get taken down some of the time, but that happens very rarely. As it rarely ever happens with soccer either. As they have all kinds of sports. You can watch football, hockey, soccer, baseball, basketball, tennis, the Olympics, and so many more. Some of them don't even work right now. I think there's only one sport that doesn't work because they haven't realized that those were broken streams, like the racing ones. But yeah, that's it. That's all we have to talk about.